Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to check fresh release from Miniart. Of course it is molded in 1/35 scale and it copies T-55 Polish production. So this is a kit without interior. As you can see there is no sign about interior included, and it might be attractive for some modders who don't want to assemble all the internals. They would like to focus only on the external detailing and not to spend some extra time, and that's why this kit will be handy for these modders, and of course it will be cheaper as well, so several bonuses right out of the box. So here we have a commercial sample. It means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. In the end I would like to show you a small surprise, so stay tuned, and we are going to open this kit and check what is hidden inside. So first of all, box art is quite nice and box size standard. Here you can see comparison with my hand. Then on this side we have some safety information, address of the manufacturer, and if you flip it over on the opposite side here you can see 7 marking options which are included into this kit. So all of them are supplied with this kit. This is a top opening box, so let's open it and check what is inside. So as usual, inside we have this large plastic bag with all the sprues inside. So if you have a chance to remove it at least just like this and check it, it would be great, because you will be able to see what is broken off, what is not. But it's really tight packaging, and I'm not sure why we keep getting such style of the packaging, because a bit more spacious box would be more handy in order to ensure that everything will arrive intact to you. So this is a sealed plastic bag, so just give me a second to open it. And I will need scissors in order to do this. In the meantime, let me remind you that you can support us financially. It is quite easy to do, as I said in the previous videos as well, because we have donate button on our website, and of course you are the one who will decide how much we will get for new photo and video equipment. And of course this money might be also used for new kits which will be reviewed on our YouTube channel. So okay, we get it like this. There was one large plastic bag, then we get this, and then there are like 2 plastic bags, actually 3, because there is one more dedicated only to the narrow sprues. I guess it was done in order to let's say separate different versions, but I'm not sure if it is such a handy feature, I would say, because again we get a huge amount of the sprues and you have to guide through it. I'm not that, I would say, fan of such design, because it makes it a bit tedious to search for one and another plastic sprue, and once you start building this kit you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so as you can see it's already 3 minutes and I'm still trying to open at least something because of such packaging. So here we have envelope, at least this. I'll place this P thread here. So here we have standard P parts for the external detailing. Why? Because there is no interior included, obviously, so that's why we don't need any interior parts. But overall parts quality is typical for Miniart, so I guess it will be easy to work with these P parts, and it's good that they are not painted, so you will be able to paint them in whatever color you would like to. Okay, next we go on with clear plastic frames, but first I would like to show you the decals sheets. Here it is. So here we have all necessary symbols for 7 marking options. Obviously not all of them will be used, so you can use them later in your later projects. And next we go on with clear plastic frames. So first one comes in form of this small square. Let me open the lenses a bit so that you can see more. So molding quality looks fine, but there are no masks included, no templates for clear parts, so you have to do everything with your own hands, or maybe just to paint them over with the special periscope shade and it will be more than enough. Here we have second clear plastic sprue, again nice molding quality. Note that some periscopes will be installed from inside, so we will have some internal detailing, even though this kit is without any interior detailing. It is just I would say what is left from standard interior kit. Next we go on with new sprue, which is designed for use with polished version of this tank. So here we have turret part, also some of the external elements which will be placed on the turret. And of course all the hatches are molded separately, so you will be able to open them on your model. And I can zoom even more. So here we have quite nice casting surface, so everything looks good. And be ready to work with really tiny PE parts in order to fine detail this turret. Next we have two, actually it's not two, so just give me a second. We have interconnection between sprues, and these two were supplied in a double amount. So here we get again various additional parts, for example the ammo boxes. Also here we have some minor elements which will be placed on the hull. So everything looks fine, but be careful while cutting it off, because some of the attachment points, they go onto the surface of the part, so you will have to be careful while cutting them off. Okay, next we go on with another plastic frame here. So this one is more concerned with main hull, so as you can see we get large panels which will be installed here and there. We also have the mantlet cover, and as you can see there are two versions, casted and also the fabric one. Fabric should be assembled out of several parts, and I'm not such a huge fan of such parts division, because you have to sand in really difficult places in order to achieve a uniform appearance. Otherwise it will look unnatural and just weird on the finished model. Okay, next we go on with another plastic bag. Again, I'm going to open it. I need to cut through the sealed plastic bag, and we will take a look at what is supplied there. Okay. Another warning which I can tell you in advance is be careful with thin parts in this kit, because they are really easy to break. And for example, I will show you one thing here. So here we have frame with or sprue with hull parts and turret parts, and this ring will make you sweat a bit because it's really thin. It can easily break just under some extra pressure, so you will have to find a way how to cleanly separate it off the frame without damaging it, because otherwise it will be really funny time fixing it and trying to achieve a more or less uniform appearance. Next we go on with three plastic frames. I'm not sure whether they will be used in this kit, but they're copying the suspension arms, as you can see. Nothing special in my opinion. Okay. Next we go on with two plastic frames which are dedicated to the lower hull section and also the turret parts. Yes, it is quite unusual, I would say, distribution of the parts, but it is like this. So here you have this frame, and here you can see these special parts which will be used on the lower hull section. We also have these thin bars which will be placed on the turret. Some modelers replace them with metal wire in order to replicate some bends and damage, so it will be up to you what you choose. And again, of course, you have to be careful, because these are really thin parts, so you can easily damage them even when cleaning them of the extra plastic. Next we have another plastic frame. So here we have some of the hull parts, and again, even though we do not have the interior kit here, you have to use, for example, this middle wall which will be placed in order to achieve a better strength of the main hull, and also some of these minor hatches and bits, they will be used for the tank. And in case you think that, for example, the turret will be empty, it's not like this. You will have to assemble the main gun, even though it won't be visible on the finished model, so it is something you can't avoid, let's say. Okay, next we go on with this frame and also another one for the fuel tank. So each fuel tank should be glued out of 3 parts as far as I remember, and also you should add a minor PE part to it, but everything looks fine. As you can see here, we have storage boxes, they also look good, and as far as I know, Edward decided to make the PE hinges, so in case you would like to have the storage boxes openable, then you can buy this Edward P set and use it on your model. Okay, next we go on with another plastic frame. This one is dedicated to the lower hull parts. Also here you can see the parts for the main gun. So as I said, even though it won't be visible in the turret, you have to build it, because otherwise you won't be able to fix the main gun in the place. Okay. Next we go on with minor frames for the drive sprockets and idler wheels. Nothing special. Obviously you have to combine two together for each side. Next we go on with two plastic frames for the front wheel. And again, you combine two parts together, you place these small discs from both sides, and here you can see the torsion bars which will be used for suspension elements. So this tank in a finished state, it can have the movable suspension parts, but it will depend on you whether you need this feature or not, because frankly speaking, I don't see the extra point for this. Maybe it might be handy in some diorama, but other than that you just fix it with glue and forget about it, because it's a bit too fiddly, let's say. Here we have small plastic frame with parts for the fuel tanks, also for the towing cables, and for this main hull rivets which will be placed on the glacis plate. Okay. Next we have also these two thin frames for the lower hull titanium. Nothing special. Main gun barrel comes on the separate frame, so it's a one-piece part. It looks fine, I would say, so if you are okay for out-of-the-box build, it should be more than enough for your model. In case you are not okay, you can get the aftermarket metal replacement for additional money, obviously. Next we go on with one more sprue. Here we get various external parts and fuel tank parts. And note that not all of these parts will be used, so you have a lot of spare bits left after the assembly, and that's something really interesting. I mean, I will tell you more in soon upcoming videos. Here we have fuel tanks, actually fuel barrels, so they should be glued out of several parts. They will be placed on the rear side, and here you have to use also the PE bits in order to replicate the belts which are actually holding the barrels in place. And one more plastic sprue, so here we get the really wide range of the parts. So all these tiny bits will be used, so be ready for this. Here under the foam we have really thin panel which will be used for the engine deck. And everything looks fine, but you have to be extra careful with such thin parts. They're really easy to break and then really difficult to fix. And I mean, that's a lot of funny time to spend with such parts. Next we go on with another plastic bag. As I said, there was a third plastic bag. It is also sealed, so just give me a second to open it and we will take a closer look. And again, in this plastic bag you won't use all the plastic frames. Some of them will stay as your spare parts. So some modelers will be happy to see such features, some modelers will be really surprised because we get, for example, some sprues just for one part which is placed on this sprue, and that's pretty much all you will use from this frame. Okay, now I'm trying to remove the plastic sprue. Okay, so what do we have here? This is quite wide sprue. Here we have turret parts and also side hull parts. Everything is molded in the same quality, so there is nothing bad or really special here. Next, I would like to show you the suspension part sprue and also this sprue for the turret parts. Here it is. We can zoom in a bit so that you can see it closer. And then we go on with another sprue here. And then also one more interesting thing is the... just give me a moment. It's really difficult to disassemble all these frames because they are just stacked together and you have to go through them. Here we have, for example, parts for the ammo. Then we have separate sprue for the machine gun. Here it is. It should be really detailed. In case you are happy to work with small parts, you will be surprised with how detailed this machine gun. Here we have road wheels, and note that we have tiny amount of flash in the holes. It is easy to fix with sharp knife, and here you can see this part from the opposite side. And next we also have the separate track links. So these are not fully articulated tracks, but still they can be bent, and here is what I was talking about, the small surprise. Here I have pre-assembled track length, and I hope you can understand what does it mean. So it's really, I mean, this length is not glued together, so they're just holding together with dry fit, let's say, and it's really easy to bend around the parts, but I won't call it as a movable. It's a flexible, let's say, but not movable. Definitely better than the typical vinyl alternative, but you will have to work, I mean, to spend some time in order to get these tracks ready, and each track length is like 90 parts, so it will be a really funny process. I'm just starting it, so it is also something to do. Okay, and next we have assembly manual. So here it is. It's a typical Miniart brochure. It is printed in color. Let's zoom out a bit. So here we have short list of the features. Then we get the first two marking options. First one is Pomeranian Mechanized Division of the Polish Army in 60s. Here we go on with another tank from 60s. One more from February-March 1980s. Here we have tank from the Iran, the 80s. That's a parts map, obviously. And I'm also surprised why they do not show sorry, which parts are not used in this kit. That would make life a lot easier, because, I mean, some sprues, as I said, they just supply you one part only, and then you place it aside, and I mean, you can see the amount of the sprues. So whole assembly starts with lower hull section. Here you have to cut off the plastic. I do not recommend to do it, just slap this hatch on the top and you will be fine, because otherwise it's really tedious job right from the beginning. Don't forget to drill the holes, because they will be handy for installation of these small bars. Then we continue with engine deck. With engine deck you have to combine a lot of parts in order to replicate the meshes, and then the same goes for the engine deck PE parts. And here you can see, for example, the headlamp assembly. It's also a bit tedious process. Next we go on with front mudguards. Here again you have to work with PE parts. So as you can see, PE parts are basically used here and there, and be sure not to miss them in various elements, because it will be a really sad thing. Next we go on with fuel tanks. Fuel tanks will be supplied with all the fuel lines, which is really cool, but you have to work a bit in order to place them in the right position. Next are the stowage boxes. Here we continue with fuel drums and road wheels and also tracks. So here you can see it's written that each track length is assembled out of 90 parts. Here we assemble the machine gun and the main gun. As you can see, they're more or less detailed inside, but they won't be visible on the finished model unless you open the hatches. Next we go on here with main gun mantlet, various searchlights. That will be a lot of, I would say, fiddly work, because these parts are really thin and flexible and easy to break, of course. Again, a lot of PE parts to place from the rear side of the turret. Machine gun assembly here. And then we place everything together. Next we have a marking option Iraq Army 1990-1991. Another one goes from Libya, September 2011. And here we have one more from Benghazi 2017. And of course we have some other kits from the same brand. Paints chart, and here you can see the main differences of the Polish production tank from the typical T-55. So as I said, this set should be already available on official ModeliMax webshop. You can get it easily there. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this kit here in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for watching today, and bye!